Let's see how to draft a manuscript. So this is high time for Dr. Dilrukshi Wimalaratne. Today she is on how to draft a manuscript. So let me introduce Dr. Dilrukshi Wimalaratne. Dr. Dilrukshi Wimalaratne is a dedicated medical laboratory scientist with a strong foundation in both practical and academic aspects of the field. Her journey began at the School of Medical Laboratory Technologists, Colombo, where she acquired essential skills in microbiology, biochemistry, hematology, and histopathology through hands-on experience in various government institutions. Building upon this solid groundwork, she pursued a bachelor's degree in medical laboratory science at the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. Subsequently, she had the privilege of sharing her knowledge as a tutor at the School of Medical Laboratory Technologists, Colombo, mentoring aspiring professionals. So, driven by a passion for research, Dr. Wimalaratne earned her PhD in microbiology. Her doctoral research focused on group B streptococci, streptococcus in pregnant women, investigating antibiotic susceptibility, resistance mechanisms, virulence factors, biofilm formation, and molecular diagnostics, including PCR and next generation sequencing. She further enhanced her research through bioinformatics analysis. Currently, Dr. Wimalaratne stands tall as a senior lecturer in the Department of Medical Laboratory Science at the Open University of Sri Lanka, continuing her pursuit of knowledge and sharing her wisdom with a wider audience, advancing the field through teaching, research, and contributing to the development of future medical laboratory scientists. So, dear Madam, Dr. Dilrukshi Wimalaratne, this is your opportunity.
Thank you, Sadhuni. Thank you, Sadhuni. Thank you for your kind introduction. It is an honor and privilege to be here with such a distinguished audience. Manuscript writing is a crucial skill in our field, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to discuss this important subject with you all today. We all know how much hard work goes into doing research. So whether you are an undergraduate, a postgraduate, a MSc student, a PhD student, or a scientist, you put in a lot of effort. Is it easy? No, research isn't easy. It takes dedication, patience, and a lot of late nights. Every little success we achieve is the result of all that hard work and dedication and the determination. But here's the thing, after all that hard work, when we finally make new discoveries or new research findings, come up with new methods, so we are the only ones who know about it. If we don't know, if we don't share our findings, they just sit there as a piece of paper and don't benefit for anyone. So all that time and money we spent could end up being wasted if no one else learns from what we have done. So this is why publishing our research is so important. When we publish, we get the credit for our hard work, and also others can learn from it. They can use our data and ideas to make new discoveries of their own. Writing a manuscript is how we communicate our findings to the world. It is the way we make sure our research doesn't just stay hidden, but truly makes us an impact. So, what is manuscript? Manuscript is a document or piece of writing that an author prepares before it gets published. So it's like the draft of a book, research paper, or an article, where the author puts down all their ideas, findings, and arguments. So scientific manuscripts are several types. We can see there are several types of scientific manuscript. Original article, review papers. Review papers are in two types, simple review or the systematic review and the case studies. So before we begin writing, we should have to think we should have to consider several things. So when we write a manuscript, we should have to organize the ideas logically and sequentially within a defined structure. So let's see the simple format or the simple format for structuring of a manuscript or a paper. This is a structure of a manuscript. Title, first you have to begin with the title, author name and affiliation, abstract, keywords, introduction, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion, acknowledgement, competing of interest, references, tables, and figures. These are the structure of the manuscript or the research article. Now, this is an example. This is this paper is have already published. Now you can see it start with the title. So you can see the unrevealing Streptococcus agalactiae, and it mentioned the author's name and then the affiliation where that study carried out, and then the abstract, keywords, introduction, material and methods or the methodology, results, discussion, you can see the figures also, and the conclusion, author contributions, funding agencies, and the statement of ethics, then the compete of interest in, and acknowledgement, finally, the references. These are the structure of the manuscript or the research paper. Now, what is we can see what is the manuscript design, how this manuscript design. It is in the article text, we are providing information according to the IMRD format. So what is IMRD format? It means I for introduction, N for method, R for results, and D for discussion. So that is the IMRD structure or the format. So introduction, which respond to the question, what did you do and why did you do it? What did you do and why did you do this research? And the method, which respond to the question, how did you do it? Under the methodology, we have to answer the question, how did you do it? And results section, the question, we give the answer, what did you find? And the discussion section that respond to the question, what does it all mean? The main text followed by conclusion, apart from the introduction, method, results, and this discussion, the main text is followed by conclusion, acknowledgement, references, and supporting materials such as figures and tables. While this is the published structure, now I say from the previous slides, it is the published structure, but we use different order when we are writing. Too easy to write the manuscript. When we are writing, we use different order. Now, let's see what are the key findings. Key findings should be placed in the key section. What are the key findings of our manuscript? The key sections. So key sections of our manuscripts are abstract, introduction, and conclusion. The abstract gives a concise summary of your entire manuscript. So highlighting the key findings to give readers a quick overview of your research. The introduction explains why your research is important and what your key findings are. The conclusion summarizes your main points and discuss their significance and suggest what might come next. Each of these sections plays a crucial role in effectively communicating your research to the audience. So, how to start to write a manuscript? Now, before write a paper, you should have to consider two main things. The first, define your hypothesis and objectives. The second one, review the literature related to your topic and select some papers, and these papers then later you can use as your reference list. So getting start is very difficult. So we are very lazy to write in. So getting start is very difficult. As I mentioned, as I say, getting start is very difficult. It can feel like trying to start an old car. Early days, we also have an old car. So it is very difficult to start. So we have to put oil, water, and to start, we have to push it. At first, it might seem slow and you have to put in some extra effort just to get moving. But once it starts, everything begins to flow smoothly and you find your rhythm. So the key is not to get discouraged by that initial struggle. So you should have to start to write, then it goes smoothly and you can end up with a good research paper. So how to start to writing? So start with the method. So the method is very familiar to us because we conduct our research with our method. So and then we can write the tables and figures which our findings can be included into the tables and figures, then results, discussion, conclusion, and write the introduction, abstract, keywords, and title. So before start to write manuscript, we should have to review the literature. So as example, the topic is vaginal microbiota during pregnancy. So we can prepare this type of table, title, full reference, method, results, and conclusion. First, we can prepare this type of table and include all the important point of the papers that you search from the Google or anywhere. So you can include all the important points into this table. So they can be used as references also. By referring these papers, write the questions for everything you are curious about. Now, when you read these papers, you can identify the knowledge gap, and you can arise curious regarding the problems. So all this, everything, you can ask as a question. You can use WH question: why, when, where, how, why it happens. Likewise, by go through this literature, you can identify the knowledge gap and the problems. Then based on those things, you can make your hypothesis and the objective. So we'll see step by step how to build up your manuscript or the research paper. So step one, I told you, the step one is the writing methodology. Starting with the methodology is allowing you to present and discuss your results more effectively. When writing a manuscript, helps to clearly outline how the research was conducted. This section responds to the question of how the problem was studied. So the reader should be able to understand the method you have used without your assistant. Now, if you establish a new method, you have to write each and every points in your paper, because the reader can't give a call and ask from you what has happened, that how did you do it. So nobody can't ask like that. they don't like to ask. Readers don't like to ask. So when you write your method, you have to write each and every points that you followed, or if you establish a new method. But if it's a but do not need detail about established method. If the method is established by the previous research, so you don't want to mention each and every steps in that method. So you can mention reference and supporting material for the established methods. So these are the component. These points should be included in your methodology. Provide full details, describe the study population, setting, design, and sample size, how you calculate the samples and data collection method, whether you use the questionnaire or how you collect the specimen, and specimen processing, what are the tests that you can you use to process the specimen, and state ethical approval, whether you get the ethical approval or not, and did all the participants sign the consent, and what are the tests that you use, what are the statistical tests that you use. All those things should be included in the methodology. Now, this is an example from the published paper, the methodology. You can see they mention their study design. It is the descriptive cross-sectional study, and where they conduct, when they conduct, and what are the sample size, 100 pregnant women, and what are the specimen that they collected, what are the transportation, how they transport, how they store the specimen, and how they process the specimen. And also they mention their exclusion and inclusion criteria, whether they use questionnaire or not, and what are the statistical method they use, and they get the ethical clearance, and also all the component should be included in the methodology. In this example, in this paper, they included all the component of the methodology. So the second step is writing the tables and figures. Prepare the tables and figures. A figure or a table can convey 1,000 words more effectively than writing and explaining with words alone. Figures and tables are most efficient way to present your results. How do you decide whether to present data using figure or a table? So tables give actual results with value, and the figures are used for comparison of your results. Then this is example. From this example, you can see the tables show the actual figures and the percentages, but by using the figures, you can compare the results. So these figures and tables should be self-explanatory. Depending in your objectives, you can show your data either as table or as a figure. So when you use tables or the figures, they should not avoid overcrowded. They should not be overcrowded, or avoid crowded data in one table or a figure. So include clear symbols and data set. If you are put photographs, it should be quality one. Now, when you're doing a research, you can get the photograph of your findings. If you put the photograph, therefore the photograph should be quality. But if you use color pictures to publish, if you want to color pictures to publish, but sometimes some journals charge additional cost to publish that color pictures. So you have to think about whether this color photo is essential or not, if they charge additional cost. So when referring the data, no need to explain each and every points on the table in detail. So you can explain as detail on figure 1 as evident from table 2. Likewise, you can explain, you can guide the readers to the read the table or the figures. And the step 3 is write up the results. This section responds to the question, what have you found? At the results section, you answer, what have you found? So you logically answer the research question. Then you can correlate with the methods. When you write the results, you have to correlate with the method and present all representative data and give description of the tables and figures. Indicate all the findings and statistical tests used with all parameters. So you have to use subheadings to keep results of the same type together, which is easier to review and read. Then interprets the data in a logical order that tells a clear story and makes it easy to understand. So you can see from this example, under the results section, so you can see the subheadings and tables. In the text, they mention the tables. They focus to the table when the readers focus to the table when they are reading the article, and also the figures. And the step 4 or the next step is writing the discussion. Here, you must respond to what the results mean. This is also the most important section of your article. Actually, huge numbers of manuscripts are rejected because of the weakness of this section. You need to make the discussion according to the results, but do not repeat the results. Sometimes we can see in some discussion sections, you repeat the results, but in the discussion section, you don't repeat your results. And here you need to compare your results with already published results. Not only that. So as example, now it is an example, colonization rate of group-based streptococcus is 23% in Sri Lanka. However, low colonization rate was seen in India, 2% and 7.7% in Pakistan. So after that, now you put your results in the discussion and you compare with other regions and the other countries with your results. But it is not enough. You can't stop here. Now you have to discuss why it is low colonization rate in India and Pakistan. What is the reason for that? Why in Sri Lanka the colonization rate is high? So that is the discussion. So you can say variation of this colonization rate between countries due to many factors. So you have to mention what are the factors you have to think about. You have to go through the research article and find what are the possible reasons for this difference. So you can mention sample size, type of sampling sites, or use of non-selective media for culture, or use of different culture methods, use of different PCR methods, or the socio-demographic factor, or because of the geographical variation, it can be changed. So this is the way that you have to write. When you write the discussion, this is the way that you the write of the discussion. So the challenge is you have to convince the reader that your findings or your article is the best. So discuss weakness and similarities with your findings. If your results are unexpected, if you get unexpected results, again, you should have to explain why that you got that type of unexpected results and what further research would be necessary to answer the question raised by your results. So when you write the discussion, you should have to use modal verbs. So those are very important. The most commonly used modal verbs are may, might, could, can, should, need, to, have, to, must. In order to, those modal verbs should be used to the when you write the discussion. Now, example, Now, see what happened if you don't use these modal verbs. PCR was negative due to the presence of inhibitors. Now here, in this sentence, it state definite reason because PCR was negative because due to presence of inhibitors. This sentence state definite reason. But when you use modal verbs, it convert into suggestion or it convert as a suggested possible reason. PCR negative may be the presence of inhibitors for PCR. So actually our findings we can't say exactly. If we get in Sri Lanka, if we get a finding, it can differ to countries. So when we discuss our results, it is better or it is better to use modal verbs when you write the discussion. So in this example, you can see they use modal verbs to can, may have, might have, maybe, may not be. In order to in this discussion section, they use several modal verbs to write the discussion. So next step is write the conclusion. This section shows how the work advances the field. In some journals, it's a separate section. In others, it's a last paragraph of the discussion. So when you go through the literature, you can see these differences. So the conclusion also an important part of your paper. It is also an important part. It will judge your work. Most of writers are making common errors. When the writers write in the conclusion, they make errors. Repeating the abstract. Sometimes some writers, they repeat the abstract under the conclusion section. And just some are just listing the experimental results or the findings. They list the findings under the conclusion section. So you should provide a clear justification for your work in this section. And you can present scientific conclusion in relation to the objectives of your research. So the step 6 is, next step is write the introduction. So when somebody starts to read an article, his mind could be in 1,000 places. So the first job of the introduction is zooming in of all the things that could be running in the reader's mind. So you have to zoom into the particular research topic that you are going to be discussed in your article. So in this place, you are going to be given background of your research area, stating the rationale of your research project, and finally, you spell out the objectives that your project seek to answer. So that could be the job of the introduction. Zoom into your topic. So when you write the introduction, it should be clearly state the importance of the paper to the development of the field. What are your contribution to the development of the field and what's new in your work? And also state why you think your paper is suitable to be published. Editors like to see that you have provided consistency of the journal scope. Now, before you submit your paper, you should have to go through the journal's scope and check whether your results and your paper is fit with the journal scope. So, when you write the introduction, don't use more words than necessary. And also don't make this section as a history lesson. Because when we go through the literature review and when we write the introduction, sometimes it converts as a history lesson. So when you write, be careful. It's not as a history lesson. And long introduction put reads off. It's very boring. If the introduction is very long, it's also boring to read the readers. So you need to give whole picture of your study at first. And objectives must be clearly mentioned at the end of the introduction. So when you write the introduction, it can be two or four paragraphs, and introduce your topic first, and literature review, justification, and objectives. This is an example. This is an example for the introduction. So they may explain their topic, and then they mention the literature of the previous results of the previous finding of the regarding this topic, and they mention the justification, and finally they mention at the last paragraphs, they write their aim or the objective. This study aim to assess the antibiotic bladder. So this is the introduction, how you write the introduction. So the next step is writing the abstract. The abstract, which is the most important component of your manuscript. It's like a heart of your paper. The abstract is like a heart. So together with the title, it is the advertisement of your article. So make it interesting and easily understood without reading the whole article. So most of the readers or the editors or reviewers, they only go through the abstract. If the abstract is clear, or the clear abstract will strongly influence whether your work is further considered. Or if your abstract is strong, then reviewers or the editor like to publish it. They accept to publish that your research paper. So since Professor Neelika has already covered the abstract writing well, so I'm not going to talk about the abstract. Next step is the keywords. In the research article, there are 3 to 5 keywords can be included according to the journal's guidelines. The keywords are used for indexing your paper. They are the label of your manuscript. So when putting the keywords, avoid words which are broad meanings. Now, as example, bacteria, it's a broad meaning. So you should have to narrow down according to based on your research. So if you did research regarding bacteria, you can mention the specific bacteria. If you did about the Staphylococcus aureus, then you can use the keyword as the Staphylococcus aureus. Or actually, and the health also a broad word. So you can specify what type of health, mental health, child health, or women health. Likewise, when you write the keywords, you don't use broad meanings. And already included this keyword should be already included in the title. And avoid abbreviation that are not broadly used. Now, let's see, I write a keyword TSB. What is TSB? Now, I know I abbreviate it to triptic soy broth, but nobody knows it. Somebody can read it as total sensitive bacteria. So that type of abbreviation we don't use as the keywords. But we can use ATCC, CLSI. All of we know that those type of abbreviation, but better not to use abbreviation as keywords. So the next step is title. The title, it should be clear and informative, and it should be explain what the paper is broadly about. So it is the first impression to attract the reader's attention, as well as editor and reviewers of the journal. So the first impression is very important. So the first impression is very powerful. So readers don't have read complete article, but readers don't like to read the complete article. But if your title is very attractive and powerful, then you have to write an attractive title. So you should attract your manuscript by selecting good and informative title. So when you write an attractive and more powerful title, then readers like to read it. So these are the examples. So interaction between group-based focus. Now it gets a curiosity. What is the interaction? And unrevealing streptococcus activity. So and also when we write the title, we can mention where this study carried out, because sometimes it's important to find out some research articles from country to country, from Sri Lanka, from India, Brazil, USA. So if we mention where we carried out this study, it is easy to find to readers. And also we can, in the title section, we can mention the study design, whether it is a descriptive study, prospective, retrospective, or the cohort. Likewise, we can it can mention the study design also in the topic. So here, if the topic is very powerful and for more attractive, then readers like to read your manuscript. So the next step is write the acknowledgement. And here you can thank people who have helped to your research and thank your funding sources. Next, the references. In the references section, according to the some journal, they limited to the references less than 25, less than 15, less than 30, likewise. So when you literature review, you can review 20 to 40 articles before start writing. So there are more mistakes in the references than any other part of the manuscript. So when we write the manuscript, this is the section that we make many mistakes at the reference section. So it causes great headache to writer as well as editors. So, but it is easy because there are many available tools that we can use. You can use any software such as EndNote, Mendeley, or Zotero to format and include references in your paper. So some journals have strict formatting requirement for the initial submission. So after insert our manuscript to that format, it will mention all the missing part and weakness of the manuscript. So you have to go through carefully that comments and make necessary correction. So you do not include excessive citation from same region, and also you can't include unpublished data as the references. So make the references list and the in-text citation strictly to the style given by the guide for authors. And finally, before submitting, you should have to finally check spellings of author's name, because nobody doesn't like the wrong to, if they write the wrong name. I don't like to if you mention my name in wrong way. So before submit the paper, you should have to spellings check of the author's name, year of publication, using of et al, and punctuation like the full stop and the comma, and finally check whether all the references are included in your reference list. So now we have already discussed the structure of the manuscript or the research paper. So when you write the research paper, you should have to use in simple way, simple English and specific and necessary words. So use consistent terminology and synonyms. Don't use offensive language. and also use precise word order when you write your manuscript. So in scientific writing language, it should be language editing, spelling check, grammar, and sentence structure and punctuation. And also you have to format your manuscript according to the guidelines of the journal or guideline from your journals. So font style and size, spacing, heading style, and paragraphs. So these are the 6 X of scientific writing: simple, short, structured, sequential, strong, and specific. So after you write, you should have to review your draft. So write, rewrite, read, again read, and review with your colleagues. Ask your supervisors to review your article, ask your colleagues to review your manuscript, and then after they give the comments, then you can revise your manuscript, revise your article, and read again, and finally you can submit your manuscript to the journal. So manuscript writing involves organizing and presenting your research or ideas in clear and logical manner. So it's essential to follow a structured format, and the goal is to effectively communicate your work to your target audience. You want a strong abstract and introduction to get people interested and to grab attention. So, and don't forget, revision is key. Getting feedback from peers can make a big difference before you submit your paper. So I would like to say that we are truly here to help you with your manuscript writing. It would be my pleasure to support you in writing your research paper. Thank you.